So ladies and gentlemen, from number 27 Squadron Royal Air Force, based down there at Royal Air Force Odiham, the Chinook. Now one of the things it's not designed to do is do this, which is go up like a lift and then spin round. You can see the angle those main rotors are getting just to cause that aircraft to twist round like that. That's something else, isn't it? I told you, these guys can make a house dance, they really can. As he's pulling around the bottom of this corner, you can hear why the aircraft is called the Whocker. Just because of that blattering noise it makes. Now what you're seeing here is a tactical manoeuvre. It's called the quick stop. They literally throw the aircraft on its end, kill its forward airspeed and bring it to a stop. Now that means that what they can do is they can fly towards their landing zone at very high speed, do a quick stop and then drop straight into it. And you can also see the aircraft even bows to us, which is really rather nice. Going to go straight up like a lift and watch what happens when he gets to the top. And the nose drop and just corkscrew down again. Now look at the angle he's getting out there. Man, is that ever a machine. As I said, aside from troops, vehicles, cargo, mounted internally in that huge cavernous hole, because all that is, the whole aeroplane's empty, there's just the two pilots sitting at the front. You know, they can fold down seats on the sides of the fuselage for troop carrying, and they've got rails in the bottom of the fuselage floor that you can just run pallets and things like that into. Or just drive a vehicle straight into the back. The whole back end opens as a giant double door. Now you'll see that there's a crew member with his head sticking out the side door. Give him a big wave. They can see us very clearly, ladies and gentlemen. Now the reason he's got his head out the door is because when the aircraft's travelling backwards, pilots can't see where they're going. So what he's got a microphone, he's talking to the pilot's head, left a bit, right a bit, and all that sort of thing. Right here and now, of course, they're on operations supporting troops on the ground in Afghanistan with both cargo supplies and moving troops into drop zones all over that country. Now that's almost vertical, but watch this. Pitching all the way down off the top of that. One more time, just to prove it wasn't a fluke. Now what I want you to think about while you're watching this, the only thing holding that up are the two main rotors. And the two main rotors are spinning on two steel shafts that are just over 4 inches thick. Now the aeroplane's pitching up and down doing all these crazy manoeuvres on two pieces of steel 4 inches thick. How much does a Chinook weigh? Would you believe what you're watching is 14.5 tons dancing on two steel shafts? Now another of these really hard quick stops. Came in at high speed, stopped suddenly. Now in an operational environment he could just drop down behind the trees and disappear. So it's a very good way of getting out of ground fire or avoiding ground fire very quickly. It's got a big red hand in the back giving us a big wave. Now where did he get that from? Don't think that's standard issue equipment somehow. You can see there the rear tail ramp closing. That's what I was talking about earlier. You can just drive the vehicle straight up that. Another one of these stall turns, that just amazes me, because how the pilot does that is he actually just jams on full pedal, pulls up as close to the vertical as he can get, and then just kicks with his right foot as hard as he can to turn the aircraft. But what the computer does with the rotors in order to do that is something entirely different. Now, believe it or not, the very first Chinooks were actually used back in the 1960s during the Vietnam War. This is a very old design you're looking at here. I get the impression he's enjoying himself somehow. First entered service, of course, with the United States Army as their main heavy lift transport helicopter. The Royal Air Force started purchasing them back in the, let's see, late 1980s, I think. The first ones entered service. Now at the bottom of the tail fin, for want of a better word, where the rear rotors mounted, you'll see two sort of cylindrical shapes. Those actually are the engines. They're jet engines, Avco Lycoming turboshaft engines. They're actually driving two shafts into a gearbox that's mounted in that fin. And then there's a shaft that runs all the way forward along the top of the fuselage to drive the front rotor. But both engines are mounted on the back of the fuselage. You can see them quite clearly here, just at the bottom of the fin. So it's a very, very complex aircraft technically. There's a lot of gearboxes and a lot of shafts running all over the place. But to be able to make it dance like that is just incredible.